Do you remember these faces? They have vanished from the face of the earth, one after another. Their lives were taken from them forcefully by others. Their lives were taken from them unexpectedly at homes. So, have you ever wondered how many of these homes, beneath their facade of warmth and security, were once scenes of murders? And have you ever wondered what has become of these homes of horror? Have they found new owners? Or are they still sitting idly on the market? And would you move into an ex-murder scene?
Welcome to Point Blank, where we suss out the issues that matter to you and I. I'm Poh Kwan.
And I'm Helmi, and you know we're going to talk about something spooky when you see me on Point Blank.
Yeah. Yep, Helmi is the ghostbuster in our newsroom. And we also have Mr. Eugene Lim, the Assistant Vice President of ERA.
And Wisely from the Society of Paranormal Investigators Singapore. Welcome to our living room, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, so actually Singapore is doing quite well. Yep, in the Global Peace Index, because out of a scale from 1 to 5, where 1 represents most peaceful, Singapore scores 1.67 this year in 2008. So yeah, that sounds like a pretty safe environment to live in, right?
It is.
Yeah, but low crime doesn't mean no crime.
Yes, you are such a spokesperson for the Singapore Police Force. Yep. Yeah. But there's already more than 20 cases of murder from January this year up till
this point in time.
And
quite a number of these cases actually took place at homes, which is kind of unexpected because you would expect your homes to be the safest shelter where you can rely on.
That's right. So, we wonder what happens to these residential properties that are former murder scenes. Now, Eugene, have you ever been approached by any home sellers that own such properties?
Well, for me, no, but we have been approached by home sellers which, for example, someone died in the house from suicide, right? Overdose of sleeping pills and all that. So yes, we do have been approached by these people, and what usually happens is that when the seller approaches you, usually there's always this conflict of objective. The seller just wants to sell the house and move on, you see. And so usually they would, on the outset, they may not tell you the whole story. Okay. They will just tell you, oh, I'm selling the house to move on. And it's only probably through some proactive fact-finding that the agent may find out something.
Okay. So how would your agents find out about these ugly histories of the flats?
Well, based on what has happened to one of my colleagues is that there was one case which was just, I think, last year, a certain HDB flat where the wife of the seller actually committed suicide by taking sleeping pills, and she actually died in the master bedroom. But when the point where the seller approached our agent, he didn't say anything about this. He just said that, oh, I'm just selling the house to move on. So the seller just didn't tell anything, and so the agent did the usual kind of work to prepare the house for sale, and usually when the agent is marketing the house, he would also our agents do is usually they would just like PR with the neighbors, to tell them, oh, I'm actually selling this house. If you know anybody who want to buy the house, you may, you can just recommend it to me. And usually they do this also to explore the possibility they may also get some more business. You see. Okay. So in so doing, for example, this case, while he was doing that, those letting neighbors know that he's selling his house, he came to find out that, oh, something happened. So when he found out about this, of course, he went to approach the seller and asked him more about it. It was only then that the seller told him what has happened. Okay. Yeah.
So you got to make your own active inquiry into the past of these flats.
Yes.
If not,
we don't treat every house like a murder scene. But of course, what usually the agent does is a proactive fact finding to to create publicity as well as to get to know the people around the neighbors.
Okay.
Yeah.
So sellers are not obligated to reveal, for instance.
You see, most of them are probably quite traumatized, all right, and they would probably just want to sell and move on.
Yeah.
And that's their objective. So it conflicts with
Yeah.
the responsibility of an agent, which is supposed to present to present the proper facts to a potential buyer, so that he or she can make an objective decision about buying the house. So for him, it's just sell and move on and wash hand.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the agent, to him is not just a short-term one-off transaction. To him is to do it responsibly and to do a good job, and possibly because of that he can probably get more business from referrals and all that. So he would take the time to go and package and find out information properly.
Okay, all right. So let's have a look at some of these web comments that have come in. So Red Devil 72 said, so are there more murder cases this year than others? So yeah, we just said, there are more than 20 cases up to this point in time. And last year, I think for the entire 2007, there are only 19 cases.
19 cases.
So yeah, you can say there is a slight increase, right? Yeah.
Zero says, spooky man, I never want to even stay in this kind of unit or house.
Yeah.
That's perfectly understandable. Wisely, have you ever had a case where someone approached you and asked you to cleanse a house that might have had
murder cases,
a murder case or a suicide
cases.
case before that?
Yes, definitely. SBI do have such cases, HDB flats or even in some landed property. Actually, for cleansing, especially for the Chinese race, even if there's no such cases about suicide or murder, they would like to cleanse their house before they move in.
Oh.
However, if there's such a case whereby previously there's some murder or some suicide cases, then there's more rites and ritual to be done, to be carried out. So what we will do is that we will first investigate this place to determine what are the factors, what are the causes. And if they require and they really wanted some cleansing ceremony to be done, then we will recommend them according to their respective religion.
Okay.
But have there ever been a specific case whereby that person who approached you actually said that somebody's been murdered in my house or committed suicide? Has there been a very specific case like that?
Yes, there is, whereby this house is actually haunted by a spirit, and we actually recommended that this person is a Taoist, so we actually recommended a Taoist priest to do some cleansing.
But how did the person staying then know that somebody had been murdered there?
I think what they actually experience is that they have various form of sightings. Firstly, it's feelings. They feel something weird. After that, will be things moving around, when missing, and then they after some time they started to feel that there's indeed convinced that there are some entities around. So they actually contacted us.
But they don't know the history of the place, right? It could be poltergeists or wandering spirits or whatever it is.
Yes, that's why I mentioned just now. Sometimes it may not be the place is previously there's a murder case or suicide case. It can be around the area. So because in cultural belief, as long as a place is vacant for some time, any entities can enter.
Okay.
So for resale unit or even for new units, you have to do some cleansing.
So how would you, would you think that these strategies, these cleansing rituals are really effective?
I think they do. Spiritually, it's really based on a certain religious ceremony. However, in terms of this psychologically, it does make people feel better, feel more safer, and more comfortable living in that place. After all, it's their home. They want to feel comfortable.
But let me ask you this. Does murder scene that takes place in a house, will that almost, not say guarantee, but will it lead to some sort of will it usually lead to some sort of negative energies residing in that place, causing problems? Definitely.
I would say that definitely there are some.
That's interesting.
There will be some forms of negative energies residing there. However, to what extent is a question mark? Because, for example, a murder case has been happening in these places, right? We can actually do some ritual, do some cleansing. And if this has been done, the place is somehow appeased, the spirit is appeased, right? When a new person actually move in, right, they will not experience so much of that.
Okay.
Okay.
So RazorTV actually headed to a few HDB flats that were once scenes of murder to find out if they are still vacant or if they have found new owners. So let's have a look at this clip.
On February 7, 1981, a trail of blood from 10-year-old Ghazali Masuki's body led police to the 7th floor of Block 12 at Toa Payoh Lorong 7. The boy was killed inside this flat, and this was also where 9-year-old Agnes Ng was sodomized and murdered about 2 weeks earlier. The culprit of this horrendous ritual killing was self-styled spirit medium Eugene Lim. He was arrested that very morning, together with his legal wife Tan Mui Chu and holy wife Ho Ka Hong. More than a quarter of a century later, RazorTV revisits the murder scene and spoke to some of Eugene Lim's former neighbors.
在1981年那个 Eugene Lim 的谋杀案发生的时候，你们是住在这里对吗？
住在，我还在做工，我不知道，我每次没有在家发生才知道这个 happening 咯。
你们之前已经认识 Eugene Lim 了吗？
没有人很 proud， 他很 proud， 他不睬我们。
你们就是有发现他们有什么不妥吗？
我在 lift 碰到他，我出来他进来我就看到他很 proud。啪！
他怎样啪？
他拍那个 lift 给他不要过了，以前没有按的嘛 lift。
下面买鸡饭吃哦，买2盘的。
有吃完吗？不懂啊。
养鬼仔吃。发生了这个事情的时以后呢，我们就很怕了，早就关门了。这边没有人住。
After the brutal killings, Eugene Lim's unit was left vacant for about 5 years before it was taken up by a Chinese family.
卖给一个也是华人嘛，潮州人。
他们会害怕吗？因为毕竟这些，
他们说了中马标，他们 good luck 给我。
他说什么我都不怕，鬼我不怕，我怕没有钱啫。
后来他就搬走了，对吗？这个屋主
他死了，
他的屋子又卖给谁了？
印度人啊，现在这个了。
你觉得这个印度人他知不知道这件事情啊？他买的时候
不知道，没得 court 来问他们，他知道就跟他就害怕了，不扣5年不给卖嘛。
Since the property can yet to be changed hands, the current Indian owner has since rented the unit to an Indonesian woman. But when she felt some presence in her bedroom, the young mother has also decided to leave the chilling crime scene.
他的房间有人闪过，他亲戚来看到那个房间有2个那个了，
看到2个小孩子，
怕他的儿子，弄到他的儿子。大了1岁多都还没有走，就是我就问他，就怕了。
现在他们搬走了，对吗？
搬走，现在越南来住了。
RazorTV hasn't spoken to the Vietnamese tenants, but looks like if the owner or the agent hasn't told them about the history of this flat, their neighbors aren't going to do it either.
也不会提起这种事哦。
为什么呢？
怕吓跑他们吧。
It was a trail of blood that led to the revelation of Eugene Lim's crime. And last year, it was the stench of a dead body that led to the discovery of Muhammad Azani's death at a Gimo flat.
We are here at a very serene neighborhood at Gimor Road, but right beside me is a house of horror where security guard Muhammad Azanil Aman was murdered in December 2007. When his body was discovered, his head was wrapped in a cloth and his wrists and ankles were tied behind his back.
那个死者应该是最近1年前这样，他不住不久，那个安迪比较久了，照顾他咯。因为有一个时期他坐轮椅嘛，那个安迪，那个死者看到我的狗他爬到他身上会跟他撒样咯。马来人看到狗就跑到不知道不敢摸的嘛。 他租给那个什么孟加拉那个3个哈，我有看过，但是我不认识他们，我以为是他们的朋友嘛，我没有想到他们住在里面，连杀死那个死者。
现在那个屋子是空置的吗？
搬进来了，因为那天有几个人来洗，也是夫妻来的，马来人呐。
Superstitions and resentments can be deadly, but jealousy is probably the most deadly of all because it could drive a man to end the life of his most beloved.
I will forgive, but I won't forget.
你认识林麻星吗？就是那个事发单位的那个屋主。
是的，他的我有跟他讲了，他的老公很好，他的老婆不好，他有外遇，他有另一个男人。
这是谁告诉你的呢？
我住在这边就知道了，她老公的人赚的钱全部给她了。
The unit at the end of this corridor was where delivery man Lim Ah Sing killed his wife in October 2005. The unit was then left vacant for a long time and has been sold to a new owner later, who has then given it a makeover. Now, it is in a much better condition than neighboring units, but would you mind its ugly past?
我不怕这种事情的，因为不是我们害死他嘛。
While it doesn't seem too hard for these stigmatized homes to find new owners or tenants who are ignorant about their past, it is harder to find a happy occupant who is also fully informed. RazorTV spoke to one of such tenants.
So have you found out about the history of this flat before you actually moved in?
Yeah, actually I know about it from friends. Nothing special about it, yeah. Just a normal house. Yeah.
Okay. So you have come here and you have looked at the condition of the flat and you think it's well worth your money to rent this unit?
Yeah, because I'm not the kind of superstitious. I'm very happy with this place. Yeah.
If you are a brave soul that doesn't mind the sordid past of these units, that's good for you. If you are not, you may want to make more careful inquiries before you buy your next property.
Wow, okay. So Eugene, would you say that it's more of the owner's responsibilities, home buyer's responsibilities to find out the history of the flat, or the agent's responsibilities?
Okay, a professional agent, if he does know about the past of a flat, then it is his duty actually to review it. Because if he doesn't review it, then he's actually lying to the prospective buyer or tenant, and he could get into some trouble because he's not reviewing full information. So ethically, a professional agent does review the facts. Usually, then after that, usually if we are marketing this kind of property, what usually it does is that we will actually show the house as it is, alright? Without telling them first. Let them make an objective assessment of the house. Okay, if someone likes the house, and is prepared to consider, then we will have to tell them about the past if we know about it. Yeah.
But to what extent does it affect the price?
Well, usually after we tell the potential buyer or tenant about it, I think usually 7 out of 10 of them will be, oh no, sorry, I'm not prepared to consider this. But there will usually be about 3 or 4 people who's prepared to consider, and of course they would use this reason as a reason to negotiate on the price.
It's a bargaining chip.
Yes, a bargaining chip. So usually in cases like these, the sellers, the objective of the seller is to sell the house to move on with their life, and the buyer, his objective, if he doesn't mind and he's not afraid of staying in a house like this, is probably to get a good deal, right? So there's no hard and fast rule of how much the price will drop by. At the end of the day, depends on how tough and how much they negotiate and how much the seller is willing to let go at.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there like a typical length of period for such units to find a new owner?
Okay, like for example, in my colleague's case, when he was selling the flat, usually this type of flat in a normal cycle would probably take about 1-2 months to sell. So in this case, he took pretty much longer, probably about I think 5 to 6 months. Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's sold to someone who knows the past and was willing to live with it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we'll go for a commercial break now. But when we come back, we'll hear from YC on his take on this issue, and we'll also find out what men on the street feel about this entire matter. So see you later.